Hey everybody, welcome back to the Black Powerhouse podcast. My name is Leah, your host, and today we are talking all things the Black Powerhouse Summit. So some of y'all may have not come. I hope a lot of y'all came. But what was that? April 25th, I hosted the first ever Black Powerhouse Summit, which was a virtual conference for publishing professionals and people in the entire book publishing industry. So we had over 190 guests. We had over 40 speakers. We had folks from the US, all over the US, the UK. We had some folks from Nigeria and Spain, and it was really kind of a global event for Black people working in and around the world of books. So let's back up to why I decided to do this summit, what was the point of it, and what my hope was. For those of you guys who may not know, I've been working in publishing for a little over 8 years now, and I've sat on many boards, I've attended countless industry events, and I found myself being one of a few Black people, one of a handful of Black people in the room. And over the course of my career in this industry, it's just felt very lonely. Like it has felt like I have been doing this thing alone. And by alone, I have my community, people that have been on my team over the years, our supporters, our readers. But when it comes to the people that were working in the industry and who were Black, it was like few and far in between. And when I would see these people, I would like hold on for dear life because I'm like, you're Black, I'm Black, and we're working in the same industry. I love this for us. So I felt like there needed to be one central conference and space for us to all come together, to learn from each other, to figure out what the future of our industry looks like, and most importantly, how we can all grow our careers in this space. Because whether you're an entrepreneur like myself, navigating the world of books, or you work in corporate publishing, the question remains is, how can I get paid to continue doing what I want to do, and how can I get better at my job? And the only way that I've been able to grow my company over the years has been community and has been learning from others. So that was my intention for the summit, but I also too wanted to bring in everybody in the industry. I work in independent publishing. I'm an independent book publisher, and so I go to a lot of events for independent publishers, and sometimes there will be a crossover with publishers and bookstore owners, or sometimes publishers and librarians. But there really wasn't a central space for everybody who works in the world of books and who is Black to come together. And so that's what I wanted to build. So we had bookstore owners, we had librarians, we had publishers, indie publishers, and folks who work for corporate publishers. And then we had book influencers and book club leaders, because I feel like at the time I'm recording this in 2025, book influencers play a key role in the industry, but it feels like such a disconnect between those of us who are working in this space and the book influencers who are promoting these books and driving sales to these books. I mean, outside of like, the marketing folks. So that was my intention. And we did exactly that. We had 190 people. We had 40 plus speakers. And like I said, it was folks from all over. Now, in this podcast episode, I wanted to share a little bit of how I was able to pull this off, who helped me and who was a part of working on this with me, how I marketed the event, and some things that you can do if you are looking to either host your own summit or your own book festival, or if you're just finding a way or trying to figure out a way to bring community together. Okay, so first is what I learned. What I learned is that I will never, ever plan an entire conference by myself. So as it stands right now, I've been a team of one in my business for about 1.5 years now. At our height, we had a team of 4, and then we had some changes over the years. And then, of course, like I'll kind of hire up as far as like having contractors during a period of time. But for right now, it's just been me. And because I was planning a virtual conference, I mean, my career before getting into publishing is I wanted to be an event planner. I'm extremely detail oriented. I know how to bring people together. I know how to plan programming. And so I'm like, this is over Zoom. This is going to be simple. This is going to be easy. I can do this. How hard can it be? And it wasn't at first. And then I went from 10 speakers to 20 speakers to 30 to 40. And then trying to make sure the communication with all of them was clear and concise. And it became a lot very quickly. Now, mind you, I also was running my independent publishing company full time still. So I'm shipping out books, I'm responding to orders, I'm communicating with authors, and also planning this event by myself. So I will not do that again. And what I learned is that after the event, and even in planning the event, so many people were like, I would love to join your team. I'd love to be a part. I'd love to do this. And I'm like, sis, it's just me. So please, come on. So now we are planning 2026, which will be in person. And I have a whole advisory board of folks who are in the space and in the industry who are willing to share their time, their resources, and their contacts to help make it big. So if you want to be a part of that, come on in and let me know. I will gladly have you be a part. So how did I market the event? I think that there are two ways that you approach marketing, especially for industry-led events. Of course, there's social, and social is going to do what social is going to do. You should be posting on social 1,000%. But I feel like because this was a very specific audience, this was Black people who were working in and around the world of books. They already lived and were a part of other organizations and associations. So of course, I promoted it with like trade publications like Publishers Weekly, included it in their newsletter and posted it on their site. But then I also partnered with a number of associations and organizations that were either doing work in diversity in publishing or were just kind of staples. So I reached out to ALA to find our Black librarians. I reached out to We Need Diverse Books, and we even had Danielle Clayton, who was a part of co-founding that organization, and they purchased tickets for some of their alumni because they have a mentorship program that I was a part of and have already kind of worked with in the past. And then was the Big Five publishers, because my network was really involved with independent book publishers, and I know of a lot of people in corporate publishing, but our paths don't really cross that often, especially if you're not being like distributed by a Big Five, which I am not. So I knew some folks over at Hachette. Shout out to Carrie Bloxton. Thank you so much. She was a part of the early days in building Young Authors Publishing and is just a great contact. And so I told her what I was building and what I was working on, and she was really generous and sent it out to all of the Black employees at Hachette, and they purchased tickets for their Black employees to come. And then I kind of rinsed and repeated that and connected with some folks over at Penguin Random House and Simon & Schuster. And so being able to sell the vision to the Big Five, I wouldn't say that it was hard, but I think it just made sense. You know, there are limited people, a limited amount of Black people that work in publishing, and there aren't that many opportunities for us to learn, be trained, and connect with other people in the industry that can help us better do our jobs. And so my pitch to them was, your Black employees are going to come here. One, they're going to find their community, which is going to encourage them to stay in this industry, because staying in this industry is hard. And if you don't have a community, or if you don't have a network of people around you that are kind of rallying behind you, I'm sure you probably had the thought that I'm just going to leave this industry and go somewhere else. So I knew that we were going to offer community, but I was also very intentional about building our programming around helping people grow their careers. So for corporate publishing, I had a panel called How to Get In and Thrive in Corporate Publishing. So we had some folks that worked in UK corporate publishing and in the US, and they all hold different positions in publishing and talked about their journey in the industry, how they got in, how they're able to maintain the work that they do and how they're able to navigate being a Black person working in such a large company. And then secondly, which I think was a really big seller, was that I had so many book influencers. Shout out to all my book influencers who were a part. And my pitch for both book influencers and publishers is, hey, we all have the same mission. We all want to do the same thing, which is to drive people to read more books, but there's not a lot of formal opportunities for us to hear one another out, understand what we're both working with, and to create the common goal. Let me back up. What I mean by that is there are a lot of book influencers who will be sent free books, but a lot of them aren't being paid. There are some book influencers who would love to be receiving books and who are giving reviews on books but aren't receiving free books. But also, too, as a publisher, we have a very limited budget. And as much as we would love to give every single book influencer a free book and a check to promote the book, it's just not in the budget to do. And so what is the happy medium? Where is the common ground for a book influencer and a publisher to work together in an equitable way that can go to the same common goal and can be a situation where both parties are happy? And so we had a panel on that. We had book influencers and marketing professionals at publishers, publishing companies come together to talk about what that looked like. So yeah, let me get back to my list because I want to make sure that I am on track. We also partnered, and by we I mean me, but in the future it will be we because I'm expanding the team. Amen. One of the other groups that I partnered with was the American Booksellers Association. And I partnered with them because I knew that there were a lot of Black-owned bookstores who were doing incredible work. But the reality is that our margins are they can only stretch so far, babe. The margins of this industry are very small. And although it was a virtual conference and what I felt like the tickets were pretty reasonable, they started at $35 and went up to $75 for our second tier. I didn't want there to be any barriers to entry for folks who were doing the work to come and to learn. And so the American Booksellers Association was able to sponsor a few tickets for Black-owned bookstores, which I thought was incredible. And it allowed people to come and attend. All in all, I think the biggest takeaway that I have from planning this summit is that we really need community. And we really need community, especially in times like this. It was an assumption before, but it was confirmed after planning and having and seeing all these beautiful Black faces on my Zoom screen that there are so many of us who are doing the work in this industry and we feel very siloed. We feel very alone and we feel like we are carrying the weight of the industry on our shoulders and we're trying to do our part in our corner, but the work is hard. And so many other people are feeling that exact same way. And I think some of the feedback and the messages that I've gotten is people saying that they feel like they found their community, that they had their spark reignited to working in the industry and doing this work. And that honestly makes my heart so full and makes me so happy because that was my intention and the whole reason why I decided to do this. So that is my breakdown on the summit. I'm already planning the 2026 summit. It will be in person. It will be in the US. I'm working with some folks in the UK because we had I think like 35% of our attendees were based in the UK. And so I'm doing something special and separate for our UK community, thinking maybe sometime around London Book Fair. But y'all let me know if you are doing something similar, if you want to work together on that. Because I want to make sure that we are also still connecting over the pond because I think that that's really important. There are more similarities than there are differences and we are experiencing a lot of the same things. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, if you like this episode, please rate it, leave us a review and tune in to the next one. But Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening. Bye.